Well, good morning again, everyone. It is Sunday, July 26th, the last Sunday in July, and we're back again for another adult Sunday school class, and we are still in the book of Chronicles. And by now you're probably saying to yourself, are we ever going to be done with the background on Chronicles and actually get into the book? So yeah, I think we should start into the book a little bit. And I promise not to go as long this time because last time I got cut off, and I think that we can do better than that. So what I'm going to do is just show you a few things today as we get into the dreaded genealogy. Dreaded because, yeah, most people kind of skip over those. But they are important, and the chronicler has a specific purpose in doing them. You're going to have to sort of trust me on that a little bit, because going through these genealogies would put probably just about any one of us to sleep. But he does have a reason for going through the genealogies in the way that he does. First of all, we need to look at the name of the book, and I think that's one reason that modern readers, in particular modern readers from like Western Europe, North America, have trouble with Chronicles, because the word Chronicles, it sort of has that baggage that it carries. A chronicle is like a record, a diary. It's supposed to be factually accurate, and that is something we in the West are very attached to, this idea of everything that purports to be non-fiction needs to be true in a way that can be verified by what? Measurement, multiple sources, whatever. But so Chronicles, the word Chronicles, it's where we get our word chronology. Chronos means time. So Chronicles carries that implication that this is going to be accurate and a record, faithful record over time, whatever. But if we look at the Greek, remember the Septuagint is the Greek translation of the Hebrew scriptures. It's done by 70 Hebrew-speaking scholars, so that they were pretty close to what the Hebrew would have said. In the Greek, Chronicles is referred to as things omitted. Now that's an interesting title. I'd really love to know why they came up with that title, because what does that mean, things omitted? Does it mean things that were omitted because they should have been omitted, or things that were omitted by accident, or what? Well, we don't know, but I do think it takes away some of that expectation and baggage that the word Chronicles has for us. So why don't we go ahead, though, just to say that I'm actually going through the Bible and studying it. I'm going to give you something to look at here. Yeah, here we are, the beginning of Chronicles, and you remember we've been through this a number of times now. It starts out with the genealogy right at the beginning with Adam, and that's pretty far back to go. Now, it's not original, obviously, to Chronicles. There have been other books in the Bible that go through this kind of genealogy that starts right from Adam. You might recall that there is a genealogy of Jesus in the New Testament that goes all the way back to Adam as well. But this is very, very detailed. I'm not even going to scroll through it, because trust me, it's the first 9 chapters of Chronicles are basically all of the descendants starting from Adam. But I know that many of you have already seen this, but some of you haven't. So I want to go through, just see that first line: Adam, Seth, Enoch, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. But if we go over here to what are these words mean in English? Adam means man, Seth means appointed, Enosh means mortal, on and on like that. But if you just read the English translations, and bear in mind anyone speaking Hebrew as a native language would have seen these words as they were reading along. It wasn't like they had to make some kind of weird translation in their head. these were the words that they used for these things. So whenever they read this genealogy, what they were reading was, man has been appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down, teaching that his death shall bring the despairing comfort. Now, if that isn't the gospel in a nutshell, I don't know what is. And that's pretty neat. So that's a little side rabbit trail thing, but I just thought it was kind of fun, and I thought I'd share it. The other thing I wanted to show you today was to refute something that many modern scholars are looking at. They're saying, well, Chronicles, I think it was kind of put together. We already have First Kings, we already have Numbers, we have this genealogical information. We don't need Chronicles. In fact, we think that Chronicles, the genealogies in the first 9 chapters, they were just sort of cobbled together and added over the centuries by others. And, this isn't original to Chronicles. Well, that held true for many centuries until scholars started looking at the Bible in a literary way. Now, don't freak out about that. I'm an English major, so of course to me it's just old home week. But literary just meaning looking at the structure of the document and the words and the way they were used and chosen, word play, word games, multiple meanings, parallel structure, all those kinds of things that when you're looking at a text, that's the kind of thing you look for. And I want to show you what they discovered. Here's an author, I'm going to put the full reference in the description, but here's an author who did a chiastic, is what the word he used, chiastic, chiastic. And really what it means is if you envision in your head, envision an X, the letter X. What a chiastic structure means is that the middle is the point at which the two arms of the X cross. And so you have the outer arms matching more or less. So if you look here at our diagram, you see that A, in our first 9 chapters of Chronicles, A, which are these verses, is the world before Israel. If I go down here to A prime, Israel reestablished. So you see what I'm saying? Every one of these, B would be here, would be the sons of Israel, and then B prime down here in later verses in Chronicles, all Israel counted. So as you can see, it's an interesting structure, and the focal of this, where the arms cross, is right here in 1 Chronicles 6. So in 48 and 49, you've got the cultic personnel in their duties. So when David appointed all of the people that were going to work in the temple, all the Levites, he listed all of their duties and whatnot, the gatekeepers and everybody else. That's listed in those verses, and then the corresponding F prime is the cultic leaders, which basically are the descendants of Adam, Aaron. So the high priest and all of the people that descended from Aaron. What we're really saying then is that the fulcrum, the hinge of Chronicles, is not David, not any other king or person. It's the temple, it's God. And I think we said this in an earlier lecture, that God is really a central character in Chronicles, and I would argue, and this chiastic diagram seems to agree with me, that God is the main character in Chronicles. And so as we see this, and by the way, this is only one of the chiastic structures in Chronicles, it's full of them, and this paper, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but like I said, I'll put the link to it down below, and if you want to, you can go through it and see for yourself. This author has done a lot of work, and I think it's really yielded some fruitful results. I'm really excited to have come upon it in my class So I hope that you will enjoy looking at it too. But as a now I can't talk today. Recapitulation, Chronicles is highly structured so that everything points to the actions of God carrying out his will and his plan for creating a people, a covenant people, the Jewish people in that day. And of course, we know that we are now part of his covenant people, we as Christians. But this is Chronicles looking at this from a highly God-centric point of view. And I hope that you will all really enjoy looking at that and thinking about what that means for us. I think that you will get an awful lot more out of Chronicles, but because you understand a little bit more about why it was written and how it was written, so that you won't be thrown or dismayed when you compare it to genealogies in other books like Numbers and Samuel, I think, has one. If you see those genealogies, they don't quite match. There are reasons why they don't quite match. Sometimes it's because a person can have a name that actually could be rendered a different way. But even beyond that, sometimes we're just too fixated in our Western way of thinking that history has to be 100% factual, or it cannot call itself history. But that isn't the case here. This is history from God's point of view. So keep that in mind. And that's all for today. I think that's all we're going to do. But thank you for bearing with the genealogies of Chronicles. And from here on out, I think we can kind of do a little bit of pick and choose some passages to illustrate some key points in the book. But I really do urge you to read this on your own, with this in mind, that it is God's book. It's about God. God is the main character. So everyone else is either serving him or not serving him. And we see what happens based on that. I'm going to let y'all go now and have a wonderful Sunday. Have a blessed day. And I will see you again next Sunday.